Hey there. We're surrounded by numbers, right? Especially in business and finance. But let's be real. How do we go from just staring at those numbers to actually making smart, strategic decisions with them? Well, that's what we're going to get into.
Does this feel familiar? You're staring at some kind of financial report, maybe for a potential investment or even just a local business like a coffee shop, and it's just a wall of numbers. You've got profits, debts, assets, revenues. It's so easy to feel like you're just drowning in all that data, but you're not getting any real insight. You have all the information, but the big question is, what does any of it actually mean?
So here's a thought. What if those numbers could actually talk? What if behind every single one of those figures on that coffee shop statement, there was a story? A story about which latte brings in the most cash, or if they're spending way too much on oat milk, or if they've taken on way too much risk to open a new location. The whole trick is just learning how to listen.
And the tool that lets us do that listening, the secret translator for the language of numbers, is financial ratio analysis. It's this brilliant method for taking all that raw, kind of confusing data and turning it into clear, meaningful insights that you can actually use to make way better decisions.
Okay, let's make this real. Look at this. On the left, you've got the raw data. Let's say our coffee shop made a profit of $50,000. Is that good? Who knows, right? It's just a number. But when we turn it into a ratio, you get context. A profit margin of 5% tells you that for every dollar of coffee they sell, they only keep 5 cents as profit. Suddenly that number has a story. Same with debt. $200,000 in debt sounds terrifying, but the debt-to-equity ratio of 0.8 tells us they're actually using less debt than their own money to run the business. See, the story is starting to take shape.
So how does this actually work? It's actually pretty simple. It really just boils down to 3 steps. First, you calculate the ratio. We just did that. Second, and this is absolutely the most important part, you compare it. A 5% profit margin on its own is, well, it's pretty meaningless. But what if other coffee shops in town are averaging 8%? That comparison gives you perspective. Instantly, you know our shop isn't as profitable as its peers. And that leads to step 3, you interpret. What is this telling you? Well, it tells you to ask better questions. Are their coffee beans too expensive? Are their prices too low? And that's where you find the real story.
And this just nails it. That lower profit margin we found, that's just one clue. It's interesting for sure, but it's not the whole picture. The real power here comes when you look at a pattern of ratios. So, what if you see that low profit margin, but you also see their super low debt-to-equity ratio? Now the clues are starting to form a pattern. The story might be that this coffee shop is just a very conservative, risk-averse business. And that's when you go from just finding clues to actually solving the case and understanding what's really going on.
So why does all this matter? This isn't just some boring accounting exercise. This is all about turning that insight into real action. It's how you can really assess a company's health before you invest a dime. It's how you can compare 2 different investment choices to see which one is the better bet. If you were the owner, you'd use these ratios to see, hey, our profitability is a weakness, we gotta fix that. It empowers you to stop guessing and start making truly informed, strategic decisions.
I love this idea. When you get right down to it, learning to use financial ratios is like gaining a superpower. It's pretty much like having financial X-ray vision. You're no longer just looking at the surface of a company, the nice logo or the busy storefront. You can actually see its internal structure, its skeleton. You can see the strength in its bones, but you can also spot that tiny little crack that everyone else just walks right by. So I'll just leave you with this. This isn't just a tool for big-shot investors on Wall Street. Think about all the numbers in your own world, at your job, in your industry, the stuff you see in the news. What hidden stories are they just waiting to tell you, now that you know how to listen?